for our roses and thorns. Those were the women that really stood out and the women that didn't. So for our roses, to me, one of my favorites was Lacey. Lacey was pretty, but she's gone. She had that great intro in the limousine where she brought that heart made of lace. Nice way to remember her name, which, without name tags, I don't know how he remembers all those names anyways. But it's just a nice material, concrete way to remember her name. We didn't really see very much of her at the cocktail party, so I'm not quite sure what happened to Lacey. Selma was pretty. Leslie H. Was pretty, really liked her dress. Helped Sarah with some encouragement and advice that I thought was really nice during the cocktail party. Catherine was cute, funny, a little bit giddy, not ruffled by all the chaos that was going on in the house. That was nice to see. Desiree was funny, sports, pennies that she threw into the wishing well. I want to see her with a little bit more maturity maybe, but she was very fun. Ashley F., great first impression. As the first one, and she's also a foster child. So as a psychiatrist, that's something that's that's interesting to me and have a heart for. But she's one of the two people that have been married before, and she is the oldest one at age 32. So we'll have to sort of see how that plays into Sean's decision-making process. But I liked her. Jackie's the one who gave the lipstick kiss, which was a neat way to remember. Wasn't big, wasn't sloppy, but it was also a little bit maybe too branding and maybe being too committed. Getting ahead of the game a little bit of just sort of knowing, trusting, and relying those three other stages first. But I like that memorable impression of her, and she seemed nice. Taryn was pretty and had a nice impression, but later on she had a hard time managing her emotions. So I want to be able to see, was that just the moment there, or is that going to be an ongoing issue with Taryn being a little bit insecure and having difficulties with managing some of her negative feelings. KCB, I really liked her from the last time that she was on The Bachelor with Ben F season, but I didn't really like her presentation here. I didn't like her dress. Her style was a little bit too provocative for me, and I didn't like the way she came into the home. So not quite sure whether this is sort of the new KCB or whether we're going to be able to see the old KCB, which I think I like better and I think was a better match for Sean. Tiara is the one who presented the tattoo on her finger, and she got the first impression rose right out of the limousine, so that was amazing. But in the previews, it seems like she's the instigator of a lot of drama, so almost like the Russell Hantz of, from Survivor days in The Bachelor. So we'll have to see if she's a real instigator and troublemaker. Tattoos, for some people, that's a little bit of a warning sign. We'll have to see how it plays out with Tiara. On the flip side, the Thorns, Ashley P., oh my gosh. She was pretty, but she was way too sleazy, engaged with alcohol, too provocative, way too physical, way ahead of the game. I mean, we're just at the stage where you're starting to know somebody a little bit and maybe build a little bit of trust with that person. And she's way past that. So many improper boundaries, and maturity just seemed to be really poor. Kelly had the real cheesy song and just was too done up. Seemed a little bit artificial to me. Ashley H. was pretty, but she was just too reserved in her one-on-one time and just too stiff and not really giving much about who she was. Paige was a Bachelor Pad fan, wasn't really too thrilled with her. I didn't think it was a match for Sean. She was just too bland. Lindsay, I would have eliminated, coming out in a wedding dress and then getting drunk and just couldn't even handle herself or manage her own self. I'm just not going to have any confidence in her being able to really be mature and handle some of the situations that she's going to be part of. Leslie M. Just seemed, nice, but just maybe a tomboy, a little bit too serious and a little too sexual with her opening. Robin, again seemed nice, but just wasn't feminine or nurturing enough, a little too matter-of-fact, engineering-ish for Sean and Sean's personality and style as I read it. And then Sarah, she had the one arm. I just didn't really see anything special about her. She seemed to be a bit insecure, and obviously her arm is an issue, whether it's prominent in her mind and in her insecurities, not sure. But when she did get the rose, she made a point to, in front of all the women, saying, "I got the perfect rose." I just think that was just sort of putting a target on her back for people to get frustrated with, and her being a little bit too arrogant. So those are my roses and thorns as I saw them for this past week and moving forward.